Welcome to the Learning About Dogs podcast with Kay Lawrence and Frances McCormack, and introducing her new collie puppy, Nika. This series is going to be focusing on all those questions that arise when you try and survive that first year with a new puppy. Good, so Nika's now about 10 weeks old. She's been home with you for a couple of weeks. It's been exciting. Been a new world for you all. Was it a mistake, or are you thrilled with how it's going?
No, definitely not a mistake. Absolutely delighted. She's settled in so well to the house. She and Tiernan, it's the best thing I've ever done for him.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
thrilled. He loves his life with her. And she's a great pup.
So credit
She's
to
a
the
wonderful
breeder,
pup.
and you don't even know, the breeding behind her. You only know her mother, but credit to the genetics that she's inherited and the breeder allowing her to blossom.
Yeah, the foster family did fantastic
Oh
work
yeah,
with her,
wasn't the
I have
breeder?
to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Super, super. I mean, good early learning baby puppies up to 8 weeks old. It should give them every chance just to blossom and be safe, and then
Hmm.
then they're ready to take on the next stage of their world.
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely. Okay, so in that first couple of weeks, again, that difference between what you expected and what you got is often a gulf.
Hmm.
So, what did she teach you in that time? What changes did you have to make because it wasn't what you were absolutely expecting? So, did she stay sleeping on the pillow?
She did.
Uh-huh.
She not just sleeping beside me, but actually worming her way onto the pillow above my head. And during one night at about 2:30 in the morning, trying to kick me off because she wanted it all to herself.
And does she
Which
wake you, or you wake for her?
she wakes when my alarm goes off.
Oh, right.
And
Okay.
at that point, she will rather excitedly lick my face and, good morning, let's get up and do things.
So she's
Mostly
learnt the
breakfast
sound of
things.
an alarm clock. Oh dear.
Learned the sound of
There
an
we go.
alarm
Yes.
clock.
And I hope
Yeah.
it's not an alarm for other things in the house as well. It's not like it's a phone alarm, is it?
It's a phone alarm, but it only rings for that
Okay. Good.
particular,
Good.
that wake up thing. But there's no hitting the snooze button anymore.
Oh, right. Yes.
And
Yes.
there's no changing the time of the alarm because she's also somehow learned to preempt the alarm going off. So try as I might to silence it, or if it's a weekend and I don't have the alarm set, we're still getting up at this time.
They. Yeah. I mean, they will recognise sounds of birds. They will recognise the sounds of the day dawning. You know.
Okay.
Um. I'm not an alarm user. I'm a sort of a daylight waker. And the puppies will certainly know it's daylight. Come on, woman, wake us up. Come feed us. It's time to be getting up. Which at this time of year gets earlier and earlier. Heading towards
Yes.
spring, and then you've got to cope with the clocks changing as well. So, yes.
Oh,
So
joy.
they start picking up all the noises from that go with that pre-alarm sound. Yes, it can even be the sound of the central heating coming on, and then your alarm goes off a few minutes later. They'll learn very quickly what's relevant to them. Yeah, cool. So
And after two,
how's the feeding going then? Is she eating as expected? Is it all coming out wonderfully well?
it's coming out very nicely, thank you very much. Feeding is going well. She's constantly hungry.
Good.
She would eat anything that we put down in front of her, except for celery. We've been trying her with a range of things from the fridge and the veg box and so on.
Excellent.
Very eager for her food. And I think if she didn't go to eat in her pen, she'd also be trying to eat from Tiernan's bowl.
All right.
She's a rapid eater.
Yeah. So well, again, this is the post-litter survival mechanism, because if you don't eat it, you don't get it. And it
Mm,
doesn't matter even if the pups have separate bowls. For puppies, eating is a communal thing, and if you don't fight for your own, portions, you just simply there won't be anything left. Um,
right.
and in a way, I know often sort of puppy rearers will tend to give them more than they need because to stop this fighting. This is normal. There should be a certain degree of having to get this food down you at a good rate. I've seen a litter of puppies that were overfed, i.e., there was too much food available all the time. I've never seen such dozy puppies. And sure enough, training them for food was a nightmare because they couldn't be bothered. Just can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Hey, let's do some clicker training. No, really not bothered about food. Really don't want it. Oh, and it was a good year before we actually got food to become something that you chased and then we eat it. But it was about chasing the food. It was very difficult. So having a certain degree of if you don't eat it, I will is
Hmm.
no bad thing. But we don't want it to extremes. So she's normally in the pen in the kitchen when you're busy doing walking around with hot pans and things like that. Yep.
No, that was that was something I didn't think to do. So we have gates on all of the rooms in the house for safety.
Uh-huh.
In the kitchen, she has chosen a mat where she likes to position herself, and she'll happily stay there as I'm cooking.
Cool.
But now that I think about it, now that I reflect back on it, that's one of the things that would have been helpful, I think,
Yeah, yeah,
um, because of that safety issue, even turning around and accidentally tripping over her,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
And they've only got to find a piece of food underneath your cooking feet once, and then
Mm,
you're going to have, if you're chopping, there's often food just, you know, miraculously finds its way to the floor, and then you've got a puppy under your feet all the time. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And it might be things that aren't particularly safe for
yeah,
dogs to eat
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of those, if I had a chance again, I might do that differently.
And has she discovered the opening of the dishwasher?
I don't have a
Oh.
dishwasher. But she has discovered the joy of licking bowls.
Okay, pretty much.
So
Yes.
she does help with the rinsing
Yes.
before before they go in the sink.
So she's learning lots of different food stuffs. Yeah.
Yes.
Funny enough,
Yeah.
Todd arrived wanting to drink tea. I cannot imagine. I know he came from a Welsh farm, but any chance there was a cup of tea in his range, he would be in there like a rabbit. I've never seen like it. And even today, if
My
I haven't
goodness.
finished my cup of tea and there's an inch left at the bottom, he will stand staring at the cup. Why would they have given him tea? I
My
presume it was just more
goodness. I've
milk scent. I don't know. Maybe it was a superstitious thing that you rear these puppies on tea, but yes, he's a tea drinker. Not coffee, just tea. So certainly, getting them accustomed to trying different foods is good. Chewing is a sort of is going to be part of her future for quite a while. So finding
Mhm.
safe things to chew, like carrots or other types of vegetables that are not going to upset the stomach. Yeah, definitely we
Mhm.
need something for those teeth to work on. But not
Yeah.
celery. Apples? You tried her on apples?
Apples, yes, apples are a big hit. And it's interesting because when Tiernan was a puppy, he was so limited in terms of what he'd eat.
Oh right.
He
Yeah.
still he'll still take a piece of something that she's having and then spit it
Yep.
out.
Yep. Yep.
But very, very limited. And in fact, I made a big mistake with that in that I would offer him something if he decided he didn't like what I was giving him. I'd offer him something different, and then of course he learned to become really fussy
Yeah.
about his
Yeah.
food.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's great to see her trying so many different
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
even if
Yes, I've got
celery's down at the bottom of the list.
three at the moment, and piece of cucumber and zips. Yeah, have that. Merrick, yeah, I'll eat that, no problem. Todd, oh, I'll put it in my mouth and take it somewhere else and have a look at it. There's nothing he trusts until he's actually looked at it well. No, you don't get anything down him first time. He's not a spontaneous eater. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Needs inspection first.
And does he do that thing of when you offer him a new piece of food from your hand, he closes his mouth and looks at it for a while before deciding if he's going to even take it?
Oh no, he has to
Tiernan
survival,
does
so he's
that.
got to put it in his mouth because otherwise the girls will get it. If it's if
Right.
it's if it's available, or I put it on the floor, do you want it or not? It's gone. Yeah, somebody else will have it. So he has to claim it, keep it safe in his
Hmm.
mouth, and then he'll go off to his own space and decide whether he wants to eat it or not. And usually the other two will follow him to see whether it's going to be for them. So yeah, so he's learned to eat a carrot, but he takes at least 6 or 7 minutes to eat just a chunk of carrot. And so the others are
Goodness.
standing there waiting for him. But I think he rather enjoys slow eating. But that's just his way. Yes. So, and how's.
Speaking of which,
Yeah, sorry.
sorry. Speaking of which, I'd forgotten how many things puppies like to put in their mouths. Nika has learned to pick my pockets
Ooh,
for tissues,
yeah.
and I've started correcting myself in that I don't put them in the right hand pocket anymore. They go into the
Oh,
left. But she's
yes,
going to
yes,
cotton on to that very quickly.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
There
she
was
loves to
some.
take them in shred.
yes, certain brands of kibble dog food were using the byproducts of the tissue industry, so wood pulp, yeah, as
Oh,
part of their bulking agents for fibre in certain dog food. So it's not unusual for dogs to become voracious eaters of tissues because it's like
mm,
dog food. But often they just
wow.
want to rip them apart rather than actually chew them and swallow them. So there certainly
Mm,
is an attraction. And I think
yeah.
she's likely to put things in her mouth that have got your scent on it or great quantities of scent. So anything like car keys, money,
Hmm.
depending on how much you handle it, or it's got human scent on it, the remote for the TV, glasses
Yeah.
cases, anything that you handle on a regular basis in a way becomes not an invitation but almost information for the puppy that this is something that you need to get to learn. This is something that is
Right.
something worth discovering. Find out more about this because it's laden with human scent.
That would explain her preoccupation with my mobile phone, which
Yep,
frequently
yep,
gets acquired and
yep,
taken to a safe space to be
yep,
explored.
yep. So and
Yeah.
shoes again. Again, the
Yes.
lace part of the shoes they'll start to take apart very quickly, and it nearly always ties up with things that we've handled a lot.
Right.
So if you do have a new toy that you want her to have an interest in, walk around with it on your body parts for quite a while. I
Okay.
wouldn't say tuck it down the front of you, but certainly getting a lot of scent on something will bring up the attractiveness of that puppy to take to it. Taking something out of a packet and giving it to the puppy to chew. Uh, no, there's no connecting information here. So whether there's some sort
Right.
of innate connection between what the others have eaten and chewed and them, responding to that the same way or not, I don't know. I don't know.
Mm.
But you don't need to chew it first, but handle it first. It'll certainly become more attractive to her. So how's the I hate to use the word house training. How's the place that we enjoy to go for a pee going, especially being a girl and you've got a boy at the moment and it's
Yeah.
it's cold outside.
It's wet indoors, shall
Oh,
we say? There we have puppy pads down,
those are great
and
inventions.
she yes, she uses them,
Yes.
but she's far more reluctant to go outside.
Have you tried taking the puppy pads outside when it's not raining?
No.
So often the scent of where puppies urinate is a
Hmm.
strong indicator of this is where you urinate in the future. Um, I
Okay.
mean, God bless puppy pads because the days of newspapers are just oh yeah. So if she's going outside, if you can, you leave puppy pads not blowing across the garden, but maybe pinned down under a stone or near where you want it to go, because scent
Hmm.
is just as important to the pup as it is to the adult dog. So this is a safe place that you need to go pee. Again, I don't know
Right.
whether there's something from the wild that the puppies would return to the den to pee stops predators picking up juvenile urine. I don't know, but
Okay.
often they will. I've had more than a few puppies run back into the house to go for a pee
Yes.
because that's the place you learn to go for a pee. So whether it's just a bit of passive learning or whether there's some innate behaviour that you pee in your own bed type of thing, or you pee in your own den
Mm.
area so you don't go outside
Mm.
it until you're more mature. Certainly if the puppies used to urinate, if I have the little puppies playing in the garden with the adults, if the puppies did pee anywhere, the adults would pee over it. So there's some
Really?
connection there of either scenting it to saying, yep, we're protecting these babies, these are ours. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are strong opinions on the use of puppy pads, aren't there? I mean, there's the
Yeah.
school that you should never ever use them, and then
Because
there's the because it teaches the puppy to go indoors. But my thinking of
oh
that is that she had already learned to go indoors,
yes,
and if
exactly.
she
Yes.
makes him, if she urinates on the carpet, it's far less likely that you're going to be able to eradicate that smell
Yes. Yes.
than you are
Yes.
of putting a
Yeah,
pee pad in
yeah,
the
yeah.
bin.
What I like about the puppy pads is if they pee on it, they don't get it all over their back legs. And,
Hmm.
bitch puppies are very difficult to get them to learn to pee on a surface where it runs onto their feet. They just don't like it. And I don't
Goodness.
blame them either. So asking baby puppies to pee on concrete is not good. The boy pups are not quite so fussy. They'll just tend to go where they
Hmm.
are because that's what they have to do. But the girl pups need the right spot, and grass is obviously ideal because it disappears wherever it goes. So the puppy pad is good in the sense that when they squat to pee on it, it's not going to run across the newspaper like a newspaper would. And wet newspaper is the ugh, And if it's wet, they won't go on it again to pee. So no, I think puppy pads are the best thing out. Having somewhere, when they start to get to the play is more fun than peeing age. So they're going to start to play and play and play and play, and the more they play, the more active they are, the more their kidneys are going to operate, and the more likely are they going to pee. Especially boy puppies.
Hmm.
Ugh. And they can pee 3 times in 1 hour when they're playing. If they then
Right.
have to go through the routine of, person, I think I need to pee, could you find me the door? Oh, there's the door, and then they're going to go out. At the same time, they've got to give up the game. The answer is no, I'll pee here. so, so the easier it is to get to the pee when they're in the middle of doing something they're enjoying, the better. Yes, we can do a gradual process. When it's a controlled environment, they've just woken up, they've just eaten, we can do 80% of the need to pee goes outside, but there's always going to be a 20% of being caught short, and it's either a long
Yes.
way to the back door or they're too busy and you want them to go, you can go there. That's fine. I don't mind clearing up there, but I don't want
Hmm.
that. So you're giving them a choice between that or, as you said, just letting it go where they are because you were busy or you weren't looking or you're doing something else,
Yeah.
and then you've got the smell of that. And even those best products, urine off, folks, it's one of the best products you could buy for this, is good. You will still have that scent in the house. And again, the puppy pads have got like a waterproof bottom where it's not going to go through to the carpet or the undersurface.
Hmm.
Yeah, so no, I'm fine with those at all. No problem. Um,
Excellent.
Best inventions.
Speaking of, yeah, speaking of playing and getting too preoccupied or too wrapped up in the game to remember to make it to the back door, on in the first couple of days at a couple of those instances with Tiernan, which really surprised me. There's this
Yeah.
3-year-old boy, and oh, I'm going to need to use one of those pads as well.
Oh, right.
I know
Okay.
I'm assuming that's what it was, and not just, oh, try this out.
Well, I wonder if it was Mark over.
Perhaps.
If she had used it already, he was, saying, I need to cover this. This is my girlie. I need to protect her from all these
Hmm.
predators. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would always advocate for this is again seasonal time of year. Excuse me. You need to think about that first period between 12 and 20 weeks. Ideally, you want outdoor life for the puppy. If
Right.
they're 12 weeks old in October and 20 weeks old by Christmas, you've got a shorter daylight hours, colder outside, less time outdoors. They are the hardest puppies to really, really cement that outdoors is for peeing, indoors is for playing. You know, um,
Yeah.
I only ever had one winter litter of puppies. They were born beginning of December, and they were the hardest puppies to really find outdoors was fun. It was short daylight hours. We couldn't play with them outside. Yeah, I couldn't leave them to be outside because it was dark and cold and too dangerous for them, or too wet.
Hmm.
So summer litter's so much easier. So ideally, you want a litter that's born February, March. Yep, and then you've got that 12-week period, 12 to 20-week periods, any time during daylight hours, and you're coming up to that soon. So she'll really cement that process that outdoors is a great place to be.
Excellent. Excellent. I have some concerns about outdoors and the garden. So I started work on my garden last year,
Yes.
and I've put down beautiful plants and bulbs of which I'm very proud. And she's already developed an interest in digging,
Earth. Yeah, there
which
we are.
Tiernan did at her age. She hasn't made her way over to the flowers yet, but the lawn is a hazard. It's a safety
Yes,
hazard.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you
So,
have to
so,
watch for holes to trip in.
so we'll have a talk about, um, you know, what her learning is when she's indoors, outdoors, and how to
Mhm.
live it. That's definitely worth a good dig into that. So that's lovely. So that's you got through the first couple of weeks, and she's busy teaching you lots of different aspects of who she
Very,
is.
very busy teaching me, and teaching me about learning as well. It's fantastic to see how that appetite for learning in a puppy is so eager and so responsive,
Yes,
and
yes,
how
yes.
quickly she picks things up,
They're voracious at this
whether
age.
words or
Yep.
phrases. Yeah.
I always think at this age. So how many times a day is she awake? Does she have like 3 good waking sessions a day or 5?
Yeah, about
Yeah, well, each of
three or
those
four.
is a full day for her. and then asleep.
Really?
And then the next time she wakes up, which is midday for you, is another day for her. And then she sleeps on
Hmm.
all that lot and digests and learns it. And then she wakes up again, and there's another day for her. So their lives,
Yeah.
their planet's going around extremely fast.
Hmm.
Yes, they're in between sort of growing puppies and growing lambs. They're one of the fastest growing young animals we could actually see physically. And because they physically grow so fast, we have to have that mental growing. So their brains, if they cannot grow fast enough to become part of the group as soon as they're adults, then they're
Hmm.
not going to be viable. So yeah, voracious learners, absolutely voracious. And every time they wake up, they'll be learning something new every 60 seconds.
My goodness.
We'll talk about that then next time. We'll make a list of what she should learn this week. Cool, lovely. Well, thank you very much again, and we'll catch up with her
Next
again.
time.
Thank you for listening. We shall be following Nika's first year through the podcasts. If you would like to learn more, please have a wander around our website, learningaboutdogs.com. We have many, many articles and lots of courses that you can explore. We also have Facebook pages, which is Kay Lawrence and Learning About Dogs. So if you have any questions on first year topics or anything else you'd like us to focus on, please use the Facebook pages and ask. See you next time.